CAG have a good enough lair to show for something today against BDS. We're going to dig into it, of course, with 2 bullets on the line for either team. We get into a first match of day 3 here on the B stream. It's the Europeans BDS versus the Japanese of Cyclops Athlete Gaming.
So, Operator fans, this is where the prep work, the strategizing comes into play. We're gonna start off on a Kaid and Deimos. Of course, Deimos targeting the roam clear capabilities as well as that late round execution in like a, let's say a 2v2 or 3v3. You can just perma-track one player. Kaid for Warden. Then a Warden answered with a Blitz as well, actually. Both having a similar train of thought there, perhaps.
Yeah, Warden is a very unusual one. I mean, the Blitz is unsurprising. You already mentioned how strong shields are in the current meta, despite a couple of nerfs. It is BDS starting on the attack siege. You don't want to play against a Blitz. We might see a Blackbeard, might see a Monty, but yeah, that BDS ban onto the Warden is an unusual one. Makes me wonder, what is it that they're planning on utilize? If not the Blitz, maybe a Ying.
I was gonna say the Ying can definitely happen. And it's funny because CAG themselves also can play that operator. So often when you have a team that's like really good at playing a shield operator, they also know how to counter it because they know the playstyle. With this information, if BDS were to bring out the Ying or a bunch of flashbangs, I would have to assume that CAG can have that conversation go, guys, if we were to do this, what would be the counterplay? And as I say that, Lasmo in that same breath goes from Raora onto the Ying potentially here, with P4 going from Ace onto Flores. So there might be some Ying gameplay in front of us.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of really good Ying. I actually believe it was CAG at Six Invitational who
they also played it.
They played Ying Shotgun on this very map, had a lot of...
Oh, yes!
Remember jumping in through the bathroom on that top floor? Lasmo is running the rifle here, not the shotgun, but regardless, I think that operator, especially in the absence of Warden, is a fantastic pick. It is going to be challenging to go for any explosive executes onto site, however, when you've got operators like Goyo, Smoke, and Echo, which in tandem will really put a thorn in the side of anyone looking to get their boots in the building in an explosive fashion. So we'll see what a BDS cooking up.
Of course, with this attacking lineup, you're thinking a slow start, but this is very fast from Lasmo who's playing the Ying. He's just creeping up the hallway. Is this gonna be freebie? What? Smoke? One tap and he goes. No one's here really to answer.
Yeah, but there's also no one to assist. None of the other BDS players able to support him. Bulletproof camera and the default camera taken down does give him a little bit more flexibility. Now CAG, how do they respond? They have a deployable shield on the Yokais as well on the side. Are going to make this a little bit awkward, but Black Ray falls. A lot of pressure on Arkuli here. With Anaton forced to try and support, he's gotten off his drones, he's using that SMG to try and reply, but BDS, they don't have to rush this.
No, they do not. They got 2 picks, and again, they have so much time to work with. Still Candelas in pocket as well. Swing out goes through, a bit of damage, but no kill there from Chibisu. And now, CAG, I mean, you have to get desperate. You have no real plan to now. Sure, there's an Echo drone, but there's 1C4 in pocket of Chibisu who's far off the side itself. They're readying behind the shield. They're waiting for BDS to make the first move, but I think they might need to strike first and try and get a kill.
If you sit and wait against 5 players, yeah, you don't have a lot of chance here. CAG looking to get antsy. Chibisu wants to duel with Frack outside, already low HP after that initial spray. A C4 could also make a lot of an impact here. Robbie takes a little damage as he's looking to try and cut off this angle. Chibisu continually hunting for something, but he's not given anything as of yet. And, well, P4 is planning that diffuser. Meanwhile, a trade elsewhere. Chibisu looking for an opportunity to try and make his way forward. He still has that C4, a good shot onto Virtue. And now in a post-plant, a 2v3 for CAG looks potentially winnable.
It absolutely does. But I'll just hold on. Again, CAG got to push in throughout that bomb, so you got long lines of sight, the backstab potential, drones with those yellow pings as well. Chibisu has to make the play once more. Already found 2. Needs it desperately, a 3rd.
He knows there's a player outside the bathroom window now, but he needs to start making moves forward. He's heard a jump in, but he cannot afford to continue waiting for these players, especially now Arkuli's gone down. A 3k for Chibisu, but it isn't going to matter because he doesn't have time to get on that diffuser. Walks over a drone. BDS know exactly where this final player is, and he's a dead man walking. No time to do anything.
Get the ace.
4k, yeah, try and hit the ace. Yeah, it doesn't matter at all. BDS had won it on time regardless, and a great start for the Europeans.
I mean, just the simple fact that they can just walk in the hallway like that, on the Ying no less was like your execution operator, one-tap the smoke, and then CAG, they almost just allowed BDS to exist in that hallway right by the bomb site. They weren't fighting back for the map control that they had lost. They're saying, okay, we have the bomb site, we got, you know, a C4, we got echo drones, but that isn't enough when you're losing most of the map control in literal 20 seconds. You have to fight back. And I think this is the case of CAG. It's the first game of the day. It's still early. This is the warm-up round, okay? Now we gotta be in there and say, okay, BDS are playing very active, very quick, which, to be fair, if you're CAG and you watched the game from BDS against Furia yesterday, they were being slow. They were not having like a thought-out plan. They were not striking first in any of those rounds. They were struggling entering the building. So the fact that last one just runs in like that in the first 20 seconds, it would catch me by surprise as well.
Yeah. No, definitely a good idea to start really pacey for BDS.
Yeah.
Even if they do have to slow down later on, they've got plenty of ingredients to go with a more thorough slow down push, particularly that Ying, right, comes down to an explosive. You know, you might spend 2 minutes setting up and then go for a Ying execute. But I think if there's any time to get pacey, it's right at the start. Catch CAG off guard early in the morning. I mean, it's not that early, really, but CAG may still be...
For gamer schedule, James, it is currently 12 local, midday. Most
it's like
scrims
6
start in
a.m.
2 hours.
Yeah, it's like 6 a.m. for gamers. I also don't know how long CAG have been in the country, whether they spent an extended amount of time boot camping.
True.
Of course, the time zone for them is not dissimilar to the time zone for me. It's actually almost exactly 12 hours different for our friends from APAC. So if anyone is watching at home right now, it's 1 in the morning. Credit to you.
Reloaded.
Yeah, that's some dedication. Staying up to support. Let's see, BDS still kind of pacey right now. Fast entry drones, applying a bit of pressure on the bomb site walls, making their presence known. And it looks like to be I mean, this looks like almost a direct attack once more. They're on the green stairs window, EMPs, last one running in, they're going for fights.
Yeah, and Lasmo does win his initial fight, looking for a little bit more. He peeks, but he does lose it.
Trade, yep.
Okay, something there for Lasmo as he does double down. Robbie did fall, but it doesn't seem to matter as BDS have maintained the numbers advantage. That could be a big C4, and Lasmo is finished off. Shoe has evened up the numbers for CAG.
The follow-up though. P4, Frank, and Virtue, I thought we were all going to come into this push together, but it's just two guys, last one Robbie, who goes in, gets the trade done, and in this 3v3, I'm not going to say it was a successful attack for BDS, because there are so many ways to attack this bomb site. There's verticality up above. You want as many attackers alive to cover all those possibilities. CG can now sit pretty, like it did in the previous round, but this time it's advantageous. Yellow ping is out, Virtue swings, doesn't connect the shots.
Well, I know where Shurip is. Oh, Freck does find that kill. So from a 3v3 to find an opening with no response, that's exactly what BDS need. As you said, there's a lot of vertical potential here from CAG. They can sit on the top floor, they can look down through these holes and prevent plants, prevent entries into the bomb site. But now with numbers dwindling, both Shurip and Blackray are alone.
There's going to be a gap somewhere. Shurip, well, there's one, but they're on the side actually, right here, going for a second swing.
Oh, he had to win that fight, but Virtue gets him. Blackray does trade back P4 on site. I believe the diffuser down with him as well. A 1 versus 2, both Freck and Virtue are separated. Hello, Virtue! Out of bullets with the SMG-11. Out comes the shotgun, but he can't deliver the killing blow. Big from the Aussie, and BDS go back-to-back.
You see Virtue's face cam saying, oh boy, DMR close quarter against a shotgun. That could be a 1-for-1 bullet trade. And who wins? Well, this time it was the DMR. A much better round there look for CAG, fighting back, going for map control, but they will call an early tactical timeout to figure out what the problems are and how to reel it back in.
The obvious thing here is that CAG need to be a little bit better at dealing with that early aggression. 2 rounds in a row, we've had opening picks from BDS, pretty much right on the site within the first 30 seconds to a minute of that round. And to CAG's credit, that round they did actually respond. It ended up at a 3 versus 3, and then unfortunately a pick let slide. But we could see a lot more from them. BDS are taking risks, and it wouldn't take much for CAG to punish it.
No, you're right. So I think right now let's talk about like the possible gaps right now and what they can fix in this, like the short term. Because I don't think CG are losing to massive blunders or massive issues. It's just the small things like gunfights, right positions, and trading your bodies. We saw a very successful entry from Lasmo and I think it was Lasmo and P4, or no, Lasmo and Robbie actually, running in and trading each other. And that's what they're doing so well. BDS is saying, hey, who's my closest person? Hey, we're gonna buddy up as a duo system. Whatever happens to me, you gotta rectify that situation and trade me back. and that buys BDS continuous map pressure, because even if they lose a player, they have a second one to maintain that foothold, that ground that they've leveraged themselves into. Then there's a good C4 response from CAG, but again, BDS seem to just always have another player behind their teammates, always ready for a trade.
With the way that BDS have been playing, if I'm CAG, I want to be bringing more traps, even if it's just a few bits of barbed wire, just to make it so that BDS have to telegraph their pushes instead of being able to sneak in at the early round. We've seen also a lot of camera-based operators, things that you have to actively be watching to get that info. In the first round, the opening pick from, I can't remember who it was, he was in front of a default cam and a bulletproof cam.
Who's going to watch it?
No one's watching
the guy
30
who
seconds.
shot probably.
Exactly, he literally got on the cams and died straight away. So I want to see more traps. And already CAG, they have the same idea. They brought this Malusi, which, if there's no Brava in play, is unbelievably potent. Like, you've got so many of those Banshees, and while they can be destroyed pretty easily, they make it so that BDS have to telegraph their entries.
That's the thing when you're playing something like a Lion Dokkaebi combination. Okay, the Lion will give like a 3-second countdown technically, but that's the only warning sign for CG that, hey, something's gonna happen, and you don't even know where. I would love a Fenrir. Instead of, they have both the Echo and the Valkyrie and the Mirror. One of those could be a second trap operator. Lesion's great, Ayla's great, Candella's going out, bit of a smoke there.
Is it bait?
Mostly a bait right now. I think they want to make the roamers fall back towards the bomb site and take free map space. Because they're not pushing this right now. They're just kind of holding angles.
So Yin Candella's sent onto site from Robbie with no entry. That's all 4, as you said, plus the Dokkaebi calls, plus the Lions E1Ds. Virtue does find a kill onto one of those key roamers of Shurip. And with Valkyrie and Echo, that is information that you can't glean while the logic bomb is detonated. So this is such a good counter from BDS. They've already got the opening pick, and with it, likely a lot of map control.
It's weird because losing a player early in defense in this particular round might be beneficial. They have a permanent guy on cameras besides when they're getting Dokkaebi called, which means he can say, this area is clear, focus on this portion because I can watch the flank, for example. So CAG, I think the reason why they weren't moving around all too much is because Shurip can say what areas they don't have to worry about. But again, it's CAG waiting for BDS to make the first move while in a player disadvantage. They have to either go for a crazy kill right now or fight for map control, because the longer you wait against BDS, they will close in that net now. Body system, 2 people against 1.
Oh, but there's a shotgun, and Black Ray does finally take down Lasmo. There is a response from CAG and a read onto where this push is coming from. Robbie's found his entry, but it's not all calamitous here for BDS. They found a few picks. It's awkwardly back and forth. Freck finds one deep into the side for Virtue. He gets flashed, but he finds his kill with the SMG-12 nonetheless, leaving it all up to our Cully in a 1 versus 3. And the necessity to retake onto the site. Information on his position gleaned by that drone. Taken down. Freck with the DMR. 3 rounds straight for BDS.
I think if I'm a player on BDS's side right now, or coaching stuff, I'm going, how many bullets did we reload again? It was all of them, right? Oh, it's 2. Okay, well, shoot.
I heard a lot of criticism of BDS in the shuttle on the way here. A lot of people talking about, why didn't they reload more bullets? And there was also a counter-argument to that, which is, hey, CAG, they beat Elevate. They had a great 6 Invitational. Don't underestimate them. But after a flying start like this for BDS, you're certainly starting to scratch your head and thinking, maybe we should have been a little bit more confident.
Dokkaebi, Ying, okay, interesting. I was going to say, I don't think the Lions a big problem right now because they're standing still mostly. I do find it curious that they're choosing to ban the Ying over the Dokkaebi personally, because I feel like you can always just play a glass instead of a Ying, and then there's smoke instead of flashbangs that are kind of messing you up. But with that being said, it's also a matter of, no matter what you do here, there will be a counter answer from BDS because of a very flexible operator pool. Right now, Lasmo hovering a shield, for example. Now they're playing Grim, much more baseline fundamental operators, not like cheese executes. And I love when a team will play the first 3 rounds, get that second set of operator bans, because CAG is showing what they think BDS is going to do. Now they're just going to flip the script and do something entirely different.
Yeah, I just really don't like the fact that CAG, I think they've failed to read into this from BDS. Like, every single round we've had either the Valkyrie or the Echo or both, with the exception of the second round. But constantly, even now, not banning that Dokkaebi, they've gone for the Echo again. You're not going to be on those cams, because at the moments when you're going to need those cams, Virtue's going to be calling you, and he's going to be entering with that SMG-12, which he's proved very deadly with. He's got 4 kills so far in the first 3 rounds.
The only thing you can do here, which I think is a bit of a a mechanic that people aren't using enough sometimes is you can put a jammer in a safe position and have, for example, Echo just sit on top of it. That way the call doesn't come through. But we often see the mute jammers being put in very like front forward positions for wall deny, where a player can sit very reliably without looking around. I can see right now Enerton on his Echo drone, he's not in a jammer. So if the Dobby call were to go through, which there isn't in this round, he would be thrown off the gadget. He's checking though, drone holes, exterior, inside as well. This time CAG, they know what's going on in the outskirts of the map and they know where BDS they will be attacking from and what is currently safe. That's a great swing from all the way downstairs.
Yeah, that's a really aggressive spawn pick. There are a lot of ways that you can peek onto that balcony, mostly from the sky bridge, which is where you would typically expect to be vulnerable to, but Shuri all the way down in the basement through one of those windows. It's a great early pick. Robbie fortunately was able to breach that wall before dying. But an opening pick for the first time for CAG is certainly going to help them.
What is the plan B though? With the hard breacher dead, can you to leverage the Monty a bit more now to get that map control walk in and pick an area? But BDS in this particular round, I think they'll be liking split pressure, you know, from multiple directions. Monty is great for a one-sided assault, but the issue is CAG with that early man advantage, they can put 5 guns against 3 because a Monty isn't really a gun at all, it's a shield. And they can just overwhelm BDS, and there is no Ying this time to help them out.
C4 needs to come through right now.
It's late.
It's a little bit too late, and Lasmo is able to get past it. Now desperately looking for some kind of a fight back. Lasmo's taken a lot of damage to his feet, and eventually he gets baited into ADSing. Shuri, or Chibisu rather, finds him. Meanwhile, Virtue has snuck in from the rear side, looking up prod and poke at R6 room. But CAG have restabilized. As I say that, I jinx it.
Oh my
P4
God.
finds one. He's jumped in and found a second one. CAG have let this slip through their fingers.
It's always a gap to be exploited for BDS, and again, they keep finding pick after pick after pick. I call in a 1v3, no babes left, and no life in the server as well. BDS good for 4 in a row, looking clean.
Unbelievable. You lose the opening pick to an outside spawn peak, you lose the Montaigne on your attempted entry, and it doesn't matter. That 3 versus 5 worked like a charm. Huge from P4 and Virtue in that round to continue incessantly peeking on in, taking their fights, and taking that space.
So, they, you know, the first day BDS, that 5-7 loss against FaZe, looking really good in like the team play, the individuals. Then we look at the 1-7 loss against Fury and Cafe, and it was like, I mean, this wasn't a team. It was 5 people playing solo queue without voice comms. It was honestly that horrendous for them, and it was a massive shocker to us casting it. I'm so happy for BDS that they can play this style of Rainbow Six Siege and find success. Yes, CAG don't have the perfect answers necessarily in these rounds, but it does show, again, the potential of the European roster, which was a massive question mark going into this tournament. But the question is, can you do this exact thing against the better and better and better teams? Because this is the thing, they played 2 teams that were very strong early on. Now they've handpicked CAG. By winning in this kind of way, they're not going to be able to just handpick their opponent every single time and go against weak opponents. They're going to have to meet those middle upper pack teams very soon, maybe tomorrow even.
Yeah. There's only 2 more days of the first phase of this tournament, the reload to survive. That's where we play with bullets, and then we get to main stage. Of course, BDS, if they make main stage, I think that would be surpassing expectations considering it's a brand new roster. But yes, you're right, especially how well they performed today. They're already quite low on bullets. They're unlikely to be eliminated today. Oh, sorry, it's impossible they would be eliminated. Even if they lose, they'll only go down to 2 bullets in their reserve. But of course, tomorrow they will be in a more challenging opponent. They could get knocked out then, or on, of course, on Wednesday. Yeah, but the big thing for me is that CAG, like you were saying, like BDS wouldn't necessarily be able to do this against a stronger opponent, but CAG also, I think that they're getting in their heads a little bit here. Like BDS have toyed with them so much. They play fast, they play slow, they bait them, and they bait them again, and it's really affecting the mental of CAG, and they are such a mental-based team. Like when they have the confidence, they are terrifying.
Oh yeah, when they're laughing the server, even when losing rounds, oh, it's terrifying. Now they got traps though, right? They got the Fenrir, the Melusi, the Capcan. They got 5 traps. No information.
How do you go from no traps to 5 traps? There needs to be some happy medium
here.
You
said more traps, James.
They really took it a little bit too literally.
So now there is a lack of information perhaps, except when you pop up in those traps themselves, which of course will be fading away as you pop them. The Monty here is great for BDS once more, just kind of get them in safely throughout the building. Akuli impact and handles a little bit of damage towards the Monty shield, not a whole lot however, and Shurip looking for an anchor angle on the exterior window of bathroom.
Does he win this fight? Freck peeking with the launcher.
There's a Claymore, I believe.
Yeah, he shouldn't jump out. He'll definitely die to that Claymore.
Oh, no,
he does. He gets baited. Oh, Shurib, if you just waited, you might have had your moment. And now BDS, again off to a solid start. CAG feeling antsy. Another impact to go out from Arkuli. It does a teensy amount of damage onto that Montaigne, but BDS are happily lapping up this map control.
When BDS don't create the space, somehow CAG, they make it anyway for them. That's that Claymore right there. It's a risk, it was winter worth to take, but didn't really pay off. Good drone work here. BDS, a little bit low on time perhaps, but as we say, there's no plant deny. There's no way to really stall for time for the side of CAG. These 45 seconds are completely real. There's no Goyo, there's no smoke for example, and they got partial top floor control. They can start baiting with Munch in the bomb site, turn the attention away from upstairs, walk on in, try and take a fight.
There comes the Grim as well. Really isolating that position. Up in R6 room, he's getting aggressive. There are still 3 players of the 4 defenders on this top floor. They're trying to hold on to this vertical angles down into the side, especially as the bomb site has been opened up. The hard breach has been enabled. Freck finds his entry. He's looking for a little bit more. He's pinching with Robbie on the other side, and both of them are taking damage, but they might get the first shot, and Robbie indeed does. It's now all up to Arkuli in a 1 versus 5. A consolation frag is not enough, and BDS go up 5-0.
It's the same story every round. Every death we see from CAG, there are 2 or 3 BDS players in front of them, behind them, from the side. It's so much team pressure on a singled out defender. And I think the thing that makes these rounds so one-sided is simply just the fact that BDS keep getting opening kill. So not only are they playing 2 versus 1 in the gunfights, they also just have more people alive in general. So they can just keep putting more numbers against fewer, and you're guaranteed to win. I mean, that top floor hold, he was getting flanked from behind, flashbanged, Grim spotted, and fought in the front. You're not gonna win that, no matter who you are.
Individually, these BDS players are playing so well on their own together. They're complementing each other, right? You've got Robbie, and he's the only player pushing from that side of the map on the top floor, but he's not over-aggressing.
Exactly.
He's playing very safe angles.
The bait part.
He's also Nomad, so he can Nomad off that hallway to his right, where
true.
is the only way he could get flanked from, so he doesn't have to have someone actively watching a drone. He doesn't have to actively watch his flank. He can just constantly be baiting and waiting out. So really beautiful stuff from BDS so far. And yes, Nicholas, as we said before, they're probably regretting not loading more bullets, but they wanted to play it safe, and they only had 4 in their reserve. They actually bet half of, or rather, reloaded half of their remaining reserve. So it was a risky game nonetheless, but there is one way where they can get even more bullets out of this game, and that is if they win these next 2 rounds.
The 7-0.
If they get a flawless 7-0, they will get a bonus 2 bullets into their reserve on top of the 2 that they have reloaded into the chamber for this match. They could come out of this with 8 bullets.
Just doubling their tally just like that. Now that would be ideal. And I think when you go in 5 rounds of attack on layer in a row, why not 6, right? You're at the point where you've shown that you can pick apart different setups and different styles, different ways. We've seen the Ying, we've seen the Monty, now we've seen the Blackbeard instead from last Mo. What this lineup tells me is that it can be a bit more aggressive and a bit more quick to the punch if you want to. And this is where I think CG, they have really hit the mark. They have the Goyo again, they have the mirror window. There is no extra count from the Skyburst this time, I believe. Yeah,
Another shot from Blackray. Unfortunately, he wasn't able to shoot the exothermic before it detonated, but he did kill Virtue, and so again, a numbers advantage for CAG and no further hard breach. It's not likely to matter though. I mean, Virtue had done his primary job. And the CAG, I mean, they haven't proven to us that they're able to win out of 5v4, so I'm still saying they're not out of the woods yet.
But that's what you got the mirror windows, no Asher counter, no Twitch, you got the Goyo canisters, again, no real counts, but I was like shooting them with your gun or using your only grenade left from last Mo. I feel like CAG for this specific situation have the perfect defender lineup. It comes down again to gunfights and how many isolated kills can BDS force. If they can get another 2 versus 1, just twice in this round, all of a sudden they flip the advantage over to their side. Selma going out for the ops wall. Goyo gets the pop, gonna stall for 20 seconds. It looks like BDS will try and go for a default plant attempt, but this time, as I said, against Toxic Babes, against Goyo Fire, and against that bombs at mirror window, this will be problematic.
1 Salma left to potentially dismantle that mirror window. In goes Lasmo. He's getting very aggressive up in the hallway. He's got some support as well, taking out that bulletproof camera. BDS are inching closer to the bomb site. A C4 patiently prepared here by Anaton. Nade goes out. That is going to force back Shurip for now. He can still partially play behind that mirror window. It's a lot more dangerous as he doesn't have cover on his feet, but Chibisu finally lands his C4. Anaton still holding his prep to try and go for this Blackbeard should Lasmo be baited into the side. But BDS, they've missed out on 2 players so far, and they're about to miss out on the round if they can't pull this out of nowhere.
Playing it so well for CAG. The bait in the corner, last babe going out, C4 primed and ready, and BDS have no idea. They're gonna wait right now for the gas to disappear. They're gonna walk on in, and Anaton, he ripped that C4 like 40 seconds ago. It's gonna guarantee get the kill most likely here, and that should just be the round for CAG.
And there's Anaton's C4. It takes down the Blackbeard, no less. Chibisu joins the fray. It's all up to P4 now, and there's no way he could possibly plan. It's a near flawless round.
It is a flawless
for
round.
CAG, finally getting on the scoreboard and denying the bonus points for BDS.
Is that a caster curse moment?
I think I did curse BDS.
I feel like that might be one of those. So, they get the 1 round. Bit of smiles there finally from the side of CAG. But it's going to be a long road now with the side swap.
I mean, 5 rounds lost on your defensive side. A lot of people would prefer to be on defense on Lair.
They would.
So now moving on to the attack, having to win at least 5 of the next 6 rounds is going to be a big challenge.
Oh, I love the inbound.
Yeah, really good from BDS already getting rid of that Ying, making sure that CAG cannot do to them what they did.
Then the question is going to be a Monty to, again, just make the attack super difficult? Is it Dokubi for the, the roam clears? Is it a Heartbreacher to make it more difficult to do?
Blackbeard.
Blackbeard.
So Monty's in, Blitz is in.
Interesting. Okay. I feel like, okay, Blackbeard does give you a free set of grenade that comes with the operator, which other shields don't have, so like soft destruction. But I do feel like it's hard to play a good Blitz and Blackbeard on layer. A lot of long hallways, verticality, crossfires. We saw BDS have the most success with Ying and the Monty, for example. The Blackbeard wasn't super instrumental in either of the rounds it was played. So that's where it's a bit of a surprise to me that they opted for it, but I see the vision here. CAG, they can play those ops.
The big hitting operator for me on the defense is actually the Fenrir. I know it seems like it's not like it defends this wall with ultimate precision or it holds this position with ultimate precision. It's just, it's great all round.
It really is.
It's just going to cover a lot of the map at once and make it really hard for CAG to go for those kinds of explosive executes that CAG love to do. And that BDS did very successfully. I kind of wish that CAG had brought that Fenrir, honestly, probably every round in the first half. Would have definitely slowed down BDS's executes. And with you, look at this lineup that CAG have got. You got Blitz, you got Sens, and you got Grim. Like, you're clearly going to be going for some kind of an explosive execute here. It's going to be really challenging to do that when you're dealing with smoke canisters, when you're dealing with the Legion traps and the Fenrir's traps.
It's funny because BDS are playing a much more what I'll call like standard European setup here for top floor. The bandit trick in the main wall, playing ops room, and very like no outstanding operators right now on the defensive side. So it's all very logical. It all makes a lot of sense. And CAG, it's great when they do like the funky stuff because BDS don't have the tools to deal with the Sense necessarily or the Blitz in this round. Okay, sure, the Warden, but
doesn't see through Sens anymore.
No, for the Blitz rather.
Yeah.
So just the Blitz, yeah.
Oh, speaking of.
And Warden isn't here, so you draw out the Warden. You see where he isn't playing. And it's it. Okay.
What are you doing, Annie? Okay.
Trade?
Well, Arkali is able to trade it, but Shurip also went down early. I don't know where the Sens died. Aggressive on ops room, looking for something. I mean, that was just a bit of a lackluster performance from the Blitz there. Very unusual. Anaton's typically a very well-regarded shield player. He needed to pull back after that smoke, but he got a little bit too greedy. He decided to swing it, not seeing anything through the smoke and trying to ADS. There's just a recipe for disaster.
I will say, I think it was awkward because he found himself past the corner of the hallway. Even if he worked backwards immediately, he couldn't sprint, he would get shot, right? He would take a ton of damage from the smoke itself. So by going for the kill, he could have killed the smoke if he landed those shots and then walk forward out of the gas instead. I think it was one of those, either I will take a ton of damage and live, or I might get the kill and survive with half my health instead. Arguably greedy, arguably just one of those, he overstayed his welcome and got punished massively for it. But the issue, I think the bigger issue, is that Shurip on the Sense died. That's your execute. Blitz is the way in. Sense is for the bomb site usually. So what do you do now? You have one Grim Canister. You have one Selma, besides this one going off right now. You got the path into the site itself, but...
Does Black Ray know?
Can you clear the corner?
Yeah, he's got an inkling here. He should certainly get this kill onto Robbie. Robbie is going to slowly swing it. He's about to be fully exposed. And for some reason, he decides to stay in that corner until he dies to his demise. CAG in a solid position now. They might be able to force this plan
Smoke's
down.
injured.
Yeah, P4 is taken down.
Okay.
Kuli's finished off. Freck and CAG have sprung to life. A flashbang to keep Virtue at bay. Not that it'll do anything against the Warden, but a revive comes through. A little bit too late for the smoke to have the impact he would have liked. And now, called upon are these two BDS players to have an unbelievable retake. It seems very unlikely. Chibisu's got the hallway on lock, and now all up to P4 with his last gas utilized. And CAG slunk back into the corners of the map. They fire up. The second round on the board for the Japanese.
Looking a lot better, fighting back, taking risk, and saying, you know what, we can't go for a default execute. What's plan B? Okay, ops room, let's go for it. Just take those gunfights with confidence. Meanwhile, BDS, you can look at the bandit player there, Robbie saying, why didn't you trick the wall? Or because he pre-placed either all four, 2 on the exterior towards, the outside, and 2 on the other bomb side. There comes a point where you realize the attackers are coming from ops room. If you don't have one bandit battery in the pocket, they can breach both of those walls. That's what happened. They breached the right-hand side first with the default plant spot, and he was like, there might be down the corner still. Let's breach the second wall as well. And the issue is Bandit didn't have a spare battery in his pocket to deny that second cell map. That's where Robbie is forced into a really bad position. Either you sprint away, gambling your life that he misses, or you stay in the corner and you die.
Yeah.
And he's getting red pinged as well.
Yeah. Nah, well played from CAG.
Totally.
It's still a really long way. Like, if this was a 2-4 split, I'd be like, look, if they keep that up, I think they could do it. But 5-1 feels like it's almost the result cold. I don't want to say that too early, but like, how on earth does CAG come back and win 5 of these attacks?
Hey, a funky operator every round, right? We had a Sense, we had a Blitz. They were showing us a glass for a bit there.
Yeah, they were.
On Blitz again.
We did have Deimos come through finally. I mean, that was banned. BDS were not able to play it on their attacking side. But the big one for me, Nick, is I did notice P4 played that Maestro this round, and he hid in the prep phase the whole time to prevent CAG from picking that Bravo, which is a really smart move.
It's going to be hard to deal with. I mean, especially, Maestro is a phenomenal operator pretty much always. Unless you play Bravo against it, then it's kind of terrible.
It's like insane unless if you have this one very specific counter.
Then it's really unfun to play Maestro because they're going to hack the camps and it's going to suck. But on vertical bomb sites like this one, where it's very plant-oriented, you can actually, with the Maestro open, play 4 or maybe all 5 defenders out of the bomb site, because those Maestro Evil Eyes will just give you so much information on the site itself that you don't need a presence. You can always see where they're planting, you can sap them, shoot the drones, keep the bomb site pretty tucked in for the defenders. In CAG, as you said, they don't have the right answer for Maestro itself. There is no Brava, and they only really have, well, they have Deimos grenades and Ash charges.
Yeah.
But you kind of want to spend those grenades on clearing corners where a defender could be playing in, not utility itself. So if anything, Shurip has to be the util clear right now, and that's a softball being opened up.
Yeah, he's just used one very early.
Going.
Hanneton is going for an aggressive pick. He does get it down, but doesn't confirm the kill. It will be confirmed here by Shurip looking for something, but he's going to lose this next fight against Lasmo. And that's a pivotal engagement. CAG needed to tie things up. Now they're in a 2v4. Black Ray seemingly unaware, but he does find one. Almost doubles down for another one. He just gets an opportunity, but Robbie looks the other way. And the fadeaway shot with the SMG-12, the Italian. He fires up, and now Chibisu is left with it all to do in a 1v3. Over a minute to play. Bit of damage onto Robbie, but it doesn't matter at this point. And as you said earlier, Maestro is still on the board. Even if Chibisu makes us a 1v1, he's surely doomed to die. Just around the corner is Robbie. Good shot, 1v2.
Crossfire established. But yeah, the site itself unplantable because Maestro is alive, but now you can track one player, know where he is. Do they have the cross? Right now they do. A very good cross at that, actually. If only you had grenades for those corners, right? Nade the corner, bait them out, shoot them down.
Yeah. Oh, the play here for BDS is just to fall off the side.
Yeah, give it to him. You have 3 Evil Eyes.
Yeah.
And a spare Baba in his pocket as well.
Yeah, P4's really played this well. There's the first of the Evil Eye. Spots him. Oh my god, Lasmo. Do not give him a chance. The second Evil Eye. And a bulletproof.
That's the third?
He can't even shoot the bulletproof here. I mean, P4 is just hidden away in the corner. And yeah, I mean, Chibisu doesn't know. So P4's going to take him down. Well played from BDS. Finally, match points in their hands.
Virtue's been one big smile this entire match, by the way.
I love seeing it.
Yeah. Just smiles all across the board.
And P4 absolutely owned that round. There was never a way that CAG were going to win that with that Maestro up.
No, it's so hard to deal with. And It's kind of, I feel like Meister getting a third Evil Eye, I think it's like, I don't know, a year and a half ago. It's still kind of recent, if you will.
People forget about it.
Not only that, but no one said anything about it when it happened. And I was thinking,
It was some tiny
this is
line
really
in the patch
strong.
notes. It's
Yeah.
insane.
It's just happening. People are like, oh, this happened, great, 3 Evil Eyes or whatever. Okay, this happened. It's like, 3 Evil Eyes. You understand? That's crazy good.
People are obsessing over like, oh, I lost my 1.5x scope. Meanwhile, Maestro's just sitting there on a tower of evil eyes.
Yeah.
It's funny. He's kind of like one of those operators which is only kept in check by just having an unbelievably strong hard counter.
Yeah.
Brava is just unreal at dealing with Maestro because not only does he dysfunction, does she make Maestro less effective for the defense, but also then she takes the cams and can use them for herself, right?
They're still bulletproof.
Exactly, and the defenders very rarely have anything to deal with that.
Yeah.
But if you hide it in prep phase, as P4 did just then, there's very little that the attack can do to deal with those evil eyes.
It's similar to Clash and Kite, right? Where Kite, of course, EMPs is like the big counter. For Clash, like a Cabot Nomad, you know, whatever, Sophia Kali. These operators that have very specific counterplays, hiding them is a pretty recent strat still.
Yeah.
Where before, you just kind of run around, they would hear that you have a Clash, they'll hear the Kite gun shooting. Where it's like, just be AFK in prep phase and drone phase, and they won't know.
Yeah.
It's a genius move. Not sure who actually coined that strategy, but you're just like seeing it now and again in pro play.
Well, last chance now for CAG. It's going to have to be 4 in a row to push overtime. Otherwise, they'll say goodbye to the 2 bullets they reloaded into this match. Do you think CAG was getting a little bit too cocky by reloading 2 bullets? They could have just gone with 1. They did get their win yesterday.
I think it's fair they went for 2 actually. I feel like they have 6, they put in 2. They believe that BDS was like a fair matchup for them. And also, if you're playing it really safe, either you'll have to take a huge risk at the end of, you know, or tomorrow or the day after.
That's right.
Or you just won't have enough, you know, bullets to actually qualify. So I feel like you have to try and stay in the race by just going 2 or more often than not. Unless you're a team who got a bunch of bullets early, you can just ride that 1 every single game because you already got way more than you need. But that's the thing. Some teams are going to go big today and tomorrow, and that can change the landscape very quickly on who's top 4 and who's not.
If you play it too safely, you just will not have enough bullets to survive come days 4 and 5.
C4.
Yeah, very early C4. That's the hard breacher down. Goo Mines catching players, a flashbang and a grenade. Anderson does find one with that glass, but it's still woeful for CAG. They've got control of the rafters, at least for now. There's still players in the side they're going to have to deal with. Now, Anderson does see where that bandit of Robbie is, but he's protected by this wall, and he's got a crossfire, so Anderson can't march on forward.
Risky now. Don't do it, Robbie. Stay in that corner, son. Don't take the risk. He gets shot from below. Oh, this is the thing. Vertical pressure. Great.
Really well played. Anderson to cover the cross. Meanwhile, the pressure from down below. Anderson does get a little bit of damage from Lasmo in the site. This is going to be very awkward for CAG. How do they mount and execute here?
No hard breach, no secondary smokes. You guys gotta wait for maybe no trackers out as well. They gotta brute force it. That's all they have. No utility whatsoever. Just 3-on-3 gunfight play.
And Frank is going to find Arcoli farming the final kills. Virtue springs to life. Around in the corner. GG's in the chat, and BDS have done it. 7-2 is the scoreline. And they get both of their bullets back and 2 more to boot.
I mean, BDS, that scenario did look very possible. CG, they finally woke up and got at least 2 rounds on the board. And BDS showed us that that day 1 performance could be their true self, at least here today on Lair against CAG.
Yeah, big win here for BDS, a much needed one after 2 extremely tough games so far. Now, they didn't get too overconfident. They only reloaded 2 bullets going into this game, but it's worth it. They hedged their bets. They didn't get too overconfident. I think they were worried that CAG had some flashes of greatness, maybe an inkling that CAG might be a little bit more than they bargained for, but they got win under their belts, and now they'll have a little bit more confidence going into the final 2 days. On the flip side, only 4 bullets remain for CAG, and they have a lot of work left to be done in this tournament.
Yeah, might have to take a bit of a risk tomorrow, depending on like what the matchup they can find for themselves. And for BDS, I think maybe the final test for them. They've had 3 games, 2 against very good teams, then 1 now against CAG. Now they might have figured out like the calibration of how good do they actually know that they are, and what's the maximum level of opponent they can take and think they can beat.
Yeah, well, for BDS, a big confidence booster The first 2 days, really challenging opponents. Third day, an opponent that could have been challenging on the one hand, but yeah, CAG really rolled over. That first half, a lot of red flags for me. You shouldn't be going down 5-1, even against a team like BDS, but regardless, look, BDS didn't get there flawless. We did see a little bit of energy out of CAG when they won a few rounds there. But it was not enough. They still have a chance to survive tomorrow. But of course, for BDS, finally a win on the board. And of course, we have 4 more matches coming up here on the B stream, so don't go anywhere.